Let's go, man. Hey, what's up, YouTube world, man? It's your boy Cam, and we back at it like crack addicts. My man Dan out in the UK. What's going on with you, man?
What's going on, man? What's going on? I had a great weekend this past weekend. Great weekend of fights, and congratulations to Katie Taylor, who is now the undisputed women's lightweight champion of the world. And but over in your neck of the woods in Vegas, we had a big night. We had Kell, Brock, Special K, Kell Brock, going for the world's welterweight championship against the WBO champion of Omaha, Terrence Bud Crawford.
Yo, hold on though. Your girl Katie Taylor gotta see my girl Amanda Serrano. I'm just saying.
Amanda Serrano, Katie Taylor.
Yeah.
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 I'm going to put money on the table for that fight.
I got Amanda.
I got Katie Taylor.
Right.
Actually, I don't know. No, I got Katie Taylor. I got Katie Taylor. She's been in rough waters. You know what I'm saying? Amanda Serrano has a great experience, a tremendous experience and pedigree. That comes with being a 7th division world champion.
Yes.
But Katie Taylor, she's doing her thing. She's doing her thing. So yeah.
That's another video in the making too, man. I gotta start writing this stuff down. But yo, man, that fight last night. Now it's crazy, man. Like we spoke before we got on.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, since we've been doing videos together, me and you know I'm undefeated, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The crazy thing is, my picks with the fights are just crazy because I picked this fight to go 12. I picked Terence Crawford to win in 12, and he stopped him in 4 with that right. Yo, the funny thing about it is Brook actually stepped into that right hook.
Yeah. He's
And
probably trying to throw. He's probably trying to throw a right of his own. The orthodox right to the southpaw. He's coming. Probably he was coming in, and I know he stepped into it, but his intentions was probably to throw that right, and then he got clipped over the side, man.
Clipped over the side, man. But it was a good fight. I mean, in the beginning, it was a little bit of a chess match. Both of these guys trying to this, distance and to see which one was doing. And Terence Crawford, that third round, the ending of the third round, beginning of the fourth round, started to step up the pace a little bit, and he clipped him. He caught him with a good shot. But you want to know what's crazy though? That same eye that Terence Crawford hit him with in the beginning of the fight it looked like it was already swollen.
Kell Brook's eye.
Kell Brook's eye looked like it was already swollen before the fight even started.
Yeah.
Something I'll watch. I don't know. I don't know if he's fully healed yet from from the Triple G fight and from the Earl Spence fight. I know he had 3 fights after the loss to Earl Spence, and I don't know the caliber of those fighters because those fights was in the UK and I didn't even see those fights. I don't know the caliber of those fighters, but I think as much as I like Kell Brook, I think it's time, man. I think it's time for him to hang up the gloves because I think mentally I don't think he's there, but mentally I don't think he's there. I think those eyes are still bothering him.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to give a shout out to Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, as I said, man, I like the guy, man. I don't even think, my personal opinion, I think he could still make 135, 140 because of his build. I still think he's like one of these smaller welterweights in there, and he's doing his thing. And I think it's time for us to see him, with Keith Thurman or Manny Pacquiao or Sean Porter. It's time, man. It's time.
Yeah. Now I think in that fight when he got dropped the first time, it wasn't even a full knockout. It was just a stun to a point where the referee Tony Weeks decided to give him a standing 8, and it was a standing 8, and you could see the look on his face. He was still up. You could see the look on his face. He was fine. At that time, he was able to see, he was able to contemplate, what's going on. But I feel like his heart wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? And which is, I'm not saying anything bad, anything, against him. I do believe that at this point of his career, you keep in mind, he's been in this thing for 16 years, since 2004. And the wars that he's gone through, the things that he's been through, in and out of the ring, and I feel like, it's his time, you know what I'm saying? It's just cut. And I felt the biggest shame is that the Amir Khan fight didn't happen, because I feel like both those guys lost to Bud Crawford, but I do believe that both of those guys, if they had fought each other, they would have been on their best night. You would have probably seen one of the best Kell Brooks we've ever. We've probably seen the return Kell Brook that beat Showtime Sean Porter, and we would have seen an Amir Khan that beat was it Danny Garcia, or that beat
no. Yes, Deep Marcos Maidana. He went to sleep against Danny Garcia. I think he came in the ring with his pillow that night. No, he came in with his pillow that night when he fought Danny Garcia.
I meant Marcos Maidana.
Yeah.
You would have seen that. You would have seen that Amir Khan. You would have seen a Sean Porter Kell Brook, and a Marcos Maidana Amir Khan, and so I do believe that one of the biggest shames is that fight has, and it doesn't look like it's going to either. They had an opportunity to, but it's just, I'm gonna say Amir Khan thinks too big of himself. You know what I'm saying? He thought too big of himself and decided to play, some political BS and negotiation BS, and decided to not price himself out of the fight. But then that's when he took the Terence Crawford fight in the beginning, in the first place. And so it was kind of like, and I don't blame, so it's not Kell Brook's fault that fight didn't happen. It's just a shame that it didn't happen. And his performance in the fight, Kell Brook, he was there, as a big guy, and was, throwing his jab, putting his jab out there a lot, but I feel like, and Terence Crawford never starts heavy anyway, he never starts heavy, so it's not like, it was a great first few rounds by Kell Brook. It was just a vintage slow first rounds by Bud Crawford, and so it just took that little bit of amp up in the engine of Bud Crawford, just to be able to go in there and just put it out. But I like Kell Brook. He's never done anything that I didn't really like. He stepped up to that fight with Triple G. When he didn't have to, and he was beating Errol Spence. People forget that this guy was beating Errol Spence. What's his face wasn't beating Errol. Sean Porter was as well, to a certain capacity, but not a lot of other fighters were beating Errol Spence the way that Kell Brook was beating.
Kell Brook putting hands on Errol Spence. And Errol Spence even admitted in that fight, man, he said his body 2-3 weeks was still sore, especially his neck was still sore from that Kell Brook fight, man. He said Kell Brook hits hard.
Yeah, I hate that. I believe, as we're now talking retrospect 2020, on a career of 16 years, I say the biggest mistake that Kell Brook did was face Triple G.
Yep.
It was definitely face Triple G. That was the biggest mistake. It was a £5 million mistake. It made him £5 million, but now, he was never the same after that. You know what I'm saying? Because he's a welterweight. You know how middleweights feel after fighting Triple G. Imagine how a welterweight feels. And so that was his undoing, and then which culminated in what happened in the subsequent February when he lost the welterweight crown. But Kell Brook is a great fighter. I feel like as of right now, he should move towards retirement if he can't get the Khan fight. But yeah, and hats off to Terence Bud Crawford. Terence Bud Crawford knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully, he's got some great things on the horizon in 2021.
Yo, Terence Crawford, man, shout out, man. That dude, man. I keep saying, man, he's built more like a lightweight than he is a welterweight, but he keep doing what he's doing. I think to me though, I think the biggest disappointment of that night was of last night was the commentating.
All right, tell us about that.
And after that, I mean, oh God, what's his name? Mark Krieger. What's the other guy's name, man?
It might be Joe Tessitore. It might be
There
Joe.
you go.
Right.
I mean, like, Kell Brook, he lost, and I think Joe was like, "Yo, get your $2 million and go back to Sheffield." Like, that's really, really unprofessional.
It doesn't sound like Joe Tessitore,
Man, I could find a video and I'll play it back, and then the fact that they just trying to, interviewing Kell Brook afterwards, and they was like, well, Errol Spence, it took him 11 rounds to knock you out. It took Terence Crawford 4 rounds to knock you out. So wouldn't you say that Errol Spence is better? I mean, that Terence Crawford is better than Errol Spence? No, you can't say that. I mean,
Yeah.
you had like it was what 4 or 5 years ago since he fought Errol Spence.
Well, yeah, exactly. 3 years ago since he fought Errol Spence.
Never.
Almost 4 years.
Almost four
Yeah,
years ago
3
since he
years ago.
fought Errol Spence,
And
right? So then you can't compare what happened 4 years ago to now, man. I don't even know what I had for breakfast yesterday, so I can't. You know what I'm saying? And then
yeah,
and then styles make fights, and he said it. Kell Brook said styles make fights. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
stylistically, Errol Spence, his style is different than Terence Crawford. And even Terence Crawford
yeah,
said they tried to force him to say the same thing too. And then Terence Crawford said too, the styles make fights. You know, you can't
yeah,
go back to when he fought Errol Spence to what happened tonight with me. It's two different fighters, two different styles. And you know, they just kept trying to
exactly.
force the issue. The two of them just kept trying to force the issue all night. And I was just like,
And
go ahead.
I'll say this. Sorry, sorry, to cut you. Another big thing though is that 3 years ago, turns Errol Spence Jr. was just a contender, was just a prospect turned contender, not contending for the title, who had turned pro in 2012. This fight is Terence Crawford fought Kell Brook after becoming a 3 division world champion, 1 time undisputed champion, and being pro after 12 years. So not only is the same is it a different Kell Brook that faced Errol Spence Jr., but it's also at the times when both fighters faced Kell Brook, they weren't the same fighters. Errol Spence Jr. was just a contender, and Terence Bud Crawford is a 3 division world champion, a 1 time undisputed champion, and the pound for pound, reputably the pound for pound best fighter in the world. So those types of that type of comparisons unfounded, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's just horrible. It's the comparison, the way they just talk about the fighters. Hold on 1 second, because I'm trying to check something out here. When he fought Errol Spence in 2017,
Yeah.
Terence Crawford was still at super lightweight at
Mm.
140. So you can't
Yeah, and he fought over that year.
yeah, so you can't even make the comparison from what happened in 2017 to what happened the last night.
Yeah.
So I just it's not the first time that they've like got under my skin, but I think last night was just it because it was just continuously the two of them just with the
Yeah.
taunts.
They got on for the Lomachenko, Vasilio Lomachenko, Teofimo Lopez fight, didn't they?
They did. I just forgot what it was, man. I think just this time I'm just bringing it to the forefront now in this video, and I just hope that. I mean, shit. I wish I had more subscribers, but I just wish that you know what I'm saying. People just I don't know, man. This world.
It was disrespect. It was disrespectful to a certain capacity, and yeah. But you know what? Though I will say this: it's indicative of what's going on. With current war. You know what I'm saying? The
Yeah,
war between Top Rank and ESPN, Matchroom and DAZN, and PBC and Showtime, and them fighters. They have their own cliques. They have their own. You know what I'm saying? It's almost reminiscent to the Castellammaris War. Of 1931 when everyone was against each other. So yeah, I'm not too surprised. I'm not too surprised by it. But at the end of the day, some fighters going in there, they're doing the thing, they're taking care of the business. But sometimes the commentators can paint a bad picture to those watching the fight, especially for the
exactly.
first time.
But
But
I
yeah,
think I hope they were talking about a Manny Pacquiao and Terence Crawford fight sometime in 2021, and I do hope that happens. And when they do announce that and sign the paperwork for that, hopefully, I mean, you guys already know we're gonna be on it. They are going
yeah.
to be on it, man. Yo, Dan, you got anything to say, man?
Now I just want to say, Errol Spence Jr., Danny Garcia is going to be a great fight, and I think sometimes, I think to myself, what would Manny Pacquiao's career look like right now if he was still with the old man? Because obviously right now he's with PBC. He's a PBC fighter, and he's a WBA world's welterweight champion. So I was going to say it'd be easy to make the Pacquiao Crawford fight if if he was still with the old man, but I think we are going to see that fight. I think for one way or another, we are going to see Crawford versus Pacquiao, and the winner will fight Errol Spence Jr. for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world.
And that's if Errol Spence could get past Danny Garcia.
Yeah, yeah. And AT&T Stadium's gonna be a great night with a great fight, man.
Yeah. All right, man. Go ahead and close us out, D.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys, man. Thank you. From Birmingham, I'm DMT, Daniel Kamala. From Delaware, thank you, my brother Cam.
All right, y'all. Be easy.
Peace.
Like, subscribe, and comment. All right.